Shovel Justice has happened, and now it's happening in other platforms, and we're getting a new look at Plague Knight. I'm here with Velasco, director, captain of the whole Yacht Club games. First things first, congratulations on launching the game, and you won a whole bunch of awards. Yes. How is Yacht Club Games taken the reception of the game?
I mean, it's been totally humbling to have so many people enjoy the game so much. I mean, winning the game awards and going up there and having to give this speech was just like it's just like exhilarating and wonderful, and it's incredible. I mean, what can I say? It's a dream come true, you know?
And right after that, like the day after you guys won the Best Indie Game, you then announced that it was coming to PlayStation platforms.
Yeah.
And in fact, just earlier this week, you announced that it was coming to Xbox One as well. How did you go about bringing those versions out?
Well, I mean, we've always wanted to have Shovel Knight on as many platforms as possible. It's just we're a small team, and we wanted to do it when it makes sense, right? Like both from a game development perspective and like from a marketing perspective. And so, yeah, I mean, the Nintendo versions and the PC version is like what we did for our Kickstarter. We got those out, and so it's like, what's next, right? It's like we wanted to hit Sony, we wanted to hit Microsoft, and we wanted to do something cool, with each of those companies. So, I mean, that's kind of where we started with everything. And I mean, everyone's been really cool to work with, and it's all coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, and about that, you said you're going to use unique elements from each of the games. I heard you mention the color bar of the PlayStation 4 controller. Right. So what are some of the things that are being added to those other versions of the game? Okay,
well, the PS4 version of the game has the color bar, so when you're in a different stage, it'll light up in different colors. When you die, it does like the kaleidoscopic like craziness. On Vita, we support back touch in like a very goofy way. Like there are just like a couple of things that you can, it's like you poke Shovel Knight in the back and he's like, it's just like goofball stuff. And then I mean, we're doing cross-buy. We're working on cross-save for PlayStation, and I think that's going to be in there too. And obviously, we have trophies on Xbox One. We have achievements, like a full achievement list. And there's going to be the inclusion of both of these first-party characters. We were thinking, with the Wii U, we have all this cool stuff that we did, right? It's like with the 3DS, it's like we're doing like full stereoscopic 3D. On the Wii U, we're supporting Miiverse, we supported Street Pass. So whatever platform we're on, we want to try to add that little extra touch if we can. So, I mean, that's what we try to do.
Now, for those characters, did you think up the ideas? Let's do Kratos, or do they walk up to you and say, "Hey, how about you do Kratos or the Battletoads of all things?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we started, we're like, what could we do for these platforms? We're like, man, it'd be so cool if we could do like a third-party character. Our inspiration was actually Soul Calibur 2, right? Which everyone remembers. It's like, whoa, I mean, I can't believe they got Link and Spawn on Xbox for some reason, and Heihachi, right? So it's like, wow, what if we could do like something like that and get some other third-party characters or first-party characters in our game? So we pitched it to Sony, we pitched it to Microsoft. We said, I mean, like for Sony, we're like, oh yeah, Kratos would be cool. It'd be cool to do like the two Sony cat mascots. It would be cool to do like Jack or Daxter or both of them. Ratchet and Clank, like those types of characters would be like appropriate, I think, like to go into this universe. And we're like, man, but God of War would be like so cool. And so they were totally cool with it. They helped us every step of the way. We went down to Sony Santa Monica and talked to those guys. And I mean, it was really smooth, and they've been really great to work with. So they've kind of let us take Kratos into our own hands and make something unique with it. Like what would the 8-bit version of Kratos be like? Well, like here it is, right? And for Battletoads, I mean, when you're doing a Microsoft thing, it's like, oh my God, we got to do a Rare brand. It's like we got to do a Rare brand. And I guess just because the Battletoads, like on the NES, like we're one of those like classically like hardest games ever. And there are a lot of Rare games, but there aren't that many Rare characters that were on NES.
I don't think many people remember Snake, Rattle, and Roll.
I was gonna say Snake, Rattle, and Roll. I was like, we could be like the two snakes from Snake, Rattle, and Roll, and you could like bite them, right? It's like they bite you and get like another little end, right? But yeah, it was like Snake, Rattle, and Roll, like Cobra Triangle, RC Pro-Am, like all these weird games that they did that were all like really cool in weird ways. But Battletoads were like, I don't know, in my brain they just stand tall as being like this like icon of the NES. So to be able to have them in the game was like a huge honor. And when you guys see what we've done, you're gonna blow, like it's gonna blow minds. It's really, really ridiculous.
My mind has already been blown. I don't think it'd be blown too much more. So moving on from those versions onto what we see over here, which is Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows. So what is this? Can you elaborate a little bit more what this quest entails? Is it like a prequel or sequel to what's going on? And why are we playing as Plague Knight?
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, the biggest reason we're playing as Plague Knight is because we did our Kickstarter and we have these 3 boss campaigns that now we're going to end up doing for Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight. So Plague of Shadows is the first one. You play as Plague Knight, and let me see what I can say about his quest. I mean, he's on a quest to concoct the ultimate potion, right? And to do that, he needs to get like the essences from each of the members of the Order of No Quarter, right? And so, saying any more than that is going to be a little bit rough. But as you can see, like in our promotional art, Mona, who ran the potion minigame in the original Shovel Knight, plays a much larger role. She's going to be kind of like Plague Knight's partner in crime, like doing all this stuff. And yeah, it's going to be if the original Shovel Knight was like more like an action-y quest, like this one is like a little bit darker, a little bit more melancholic, a little bit more like thoughtful, but also like explosive and crazy, you know. And there'll be a little bit of romance too. So, I mean, yeah, look forward to all that. But I can't say anymore.
Okay, sorry. So now this obviously focuses more on alchemy rather than chivalry. So how does that affect the gameplay this time around?
Well, as you can see, Plague Knight's mobility is totally different. So he has a double jump, he has a bomb jump, he doesn't have the shovel, and he can't do a shovel drop at all. So as a player, you have to figure out different ways to make your way through the levels that are essentially built for Shovel Knight, right? But there are some like alternate paths. You can see we place some coins in weird places. And so it's like you're taking a new path through the same or through a similar level. And so the way you play is totally different. On top of that, instead of having relics and binding them with Chester and everything like from the original Shovel Knight, we're going to be doing a whole alchemy system. So you probably saw up in the HUD there are different little items that are dropping. Those are like reagents that you use to combine together to make alchemical combos. So you can craft yourself new bombs, health upgrades, new like armor, things that have like weird effects, and kind of like customize your Plague Knight how you want. But when you die, you lose all that stuff, and so in a similar fashion to Shovel Knight, and you have to go and like craft it again. So Plague Knight starts out weaker than Shovel Knight in every level, but then you kind of like build him up through the course of the level, and by the end of it, he's like this unstoppable explosion machine.
I guess that means that the town folk have a little bit different role this time in the game?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we had a screenshot that sort of hints that maybe Plague Knight isn't allowed in the town. So he'll have to have alternate methods of talking to people, maybe a different area to explore, and some more things to do like in that direction. Yeah.
Now that we've made the game and now you're making this extra game content, how does it feel different like as opposed to when you first created the game?
Well, in the initial game, it was kind of like we were blazing a new trail, right? Like we didn't really know what we were doing necessarily. Going to shows like this and having people play the game was a big part of our like playtest experience, right? Are people going to get it? Are they going to have fun with it? Do these levels make sense? Now that the game has come out and it's been well received, it's like we know that the levels, people like them playing with Shovel Knight. We know that people kind of like dig the humor and the style that we've done. And we know that people like Plague Knight as a character, and so we can use all that to kind of inform us now when we're making this new content. But it's all different, right? So it's like it's like the checkpoint. Like we worked so hard on the checkpoint and we got it figured out. Done. Put the nail in the coffin of the checkpoint. But then it's like now it's like Plague Knight. Well, it's like, but he shouldn't have that same checkpoint. What are we going to do with it? So it's like starting over at square one, but it's cool, like just seeing the results of what we're doing with this campaign compared to the other campaign. I think it's going to turn out really well, so it's exciting too.
You get to see you get to go back in there and go, you know what, I didn't really like that in the end. Let's just change this whole up.
Or it's like I'm so sick of being like heavy, down thrusty Shovel Knight. Like Plague Knight is like he's like in the air, he's explosive, he's manic, and so playing as him and crafting a world around him is like a pretty different experience. Yeah.
We still have the other boss guys too.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, okay, by the time we get to King Knight, it's like you're not going to want to run through these levels a fourth time. So it's like we're going to have to figure something else out to like keep it fresh. But that's exactly what we intend on doing.
Now, and the Plague of Shadows is coming out in a few months' time, more or less. I know there's other additional modes coming out too. Are those going to be bucketed in with this, or are they coming in at separate times?
You know, we still don't know exactly, but when we release content, we'll probably do it in packs. So like with Plague Knight, it might be like, oh yeah, and like we got challenge mode in there, and like challenge level 1 through 10 are in there. There it is. Or if we don't really have it ready yet, then we'll hold it off until the next pack. Either way, this should all be, everything will be in there, but it could come out in tiered releases like that, especially the challenge mode stuff, because if it's going to be challenge modes for the characters, I'd like to have each one, you know, like each character has its own set of levels, you know, so something like that maybe.
This was a crowdfunding project, of course, and one of the things you had were these meetings with the backers and talk to them.
Yeah.
How has that affected the development of this game mode, all the future games that you've made here, and are you planning to use this in the future for feedback, or you think you're gonna?
I mean, absolutely. For Plague of Shadows, we've only done one so far, and you know, it's a very small group, right? It's like we just get on a Google Hangout, and I stand in front of a board and I point at things, and we say, hey, this is what we think we're doing. How do you guys, you know, how do you feel about this? And we just get opinions. We have a lot of suggestions from people too. I mean, a lot of things that went into the original Shovel Knight game, and some ideas for this, were straight from those, you know, from those meetings. So, yeah, we used them. We're going to keep using them. And I wish that we were on a more regular schedule, honestly. So it's like, hey, every 2 weeks on Friday at 5 p.m. we're going to do these. You know, maybe that's something that we could get going in the future.
Well, you got Mega Man coming up, at least.
Well, and we're in the midst of Marchio right now.
Oh, Marchio, and then I saw that you gave for Christmas, you gave the team a bunch of Sonic games. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. That's funny. It was actually I was over at the Game Grumps, like their like hangout, and like it's insane. They have like bins of games that people just send them, right? And so there's like 12 bins of games. And it's like, hey, just dig through these because they're all doubles. If you guys want any games out of here, you know, you can just take them. And so I looked, I'm like, I don't know. And then I see like one Sonic, and then I see like 2 other Sonics, and I was like, I bet I could make the whole collection. I bet I could get like every Sonic game. And so I went through and we dug through them all, and we got all these games. And I was like, all right, I have to give these to everybody. So.
Yeah, we're not going to see inspiration for Sonic and the Shovel Knight, right?
Well, I mean, okay. So one of the things that we talk about so much at the Yacht Club is like, how would you make a good Sonic game? You know, like how would you make a 2D Sonic game where the gameplay, it's like everyone agreed that it was just wonderful. And like, I mean, we don't really know the answer, but that's something that we think about a lot. Like I feel like that would be like the biggest challenge of all. Is like make a really good 2D Sonic game, or just a good Sonic game. Period. You
made a really good job with this, so I don't think you need to worry too much about your confidence level there.
Well, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Sonic is like, he's just so tough though, right? That's a difficult guy to get your brain wrapped around.
It's fast paced, but then at the same time, there's enemies in front of you, so.
Right. It's like you're going so fast that like the point of the game is to go fast, but you go slowly so you can avoid things. The level design rushes by you so quickly that it's just impossible to parse. So it's like, how do you solve those problems and still make Sonic feel fast? I don't know. You know, I don't know.
I don't know yet. We'll have to find that out. Yeah. And last thing, when are we going to expect to see the PlayStation, Xbox One versions of the game and Plague of Shadows?
I forget.
Or something close.
Sorry. Yeah, the Xbox and PlayStation 4 versions are going to be coming out on April 21st, I believe. And then Plague of Shadows should be coming soon. But it's slated for a Q2 release this year. So soon, with like first half of the year.
So you heard that? If you haven't gotten the game yet, go ahead, get your PS4, your Xbox One, Windows 10, PS Vita, and anything else that can play video games, because it's probably a Shovel Knight on it or coming to it. Go get it.